Hello everybody, today we are interviewing Mr. Fitzmaurice, the CEO of North Anglia. So how did you get to where you are today? What are some of the biggest milestones in your career?
Well, I think I've been really lucky in that I've managed to work alongside some very, very interesting people, some really inspiring people that I've learned a lot from. And what I've tried to do whenever I've had different roles, I've always tried to learn off the people that I've worked with and for, and to try and take the best, because you don't always see the best of everyone all the time. But to try and take the best of what you see in people. And there was one person I used to work with who was a really inspiring person, and he just made everyone feel that worked with him that they were the best at that job, that there was no one else who could be as good at that job as they were. So he was a great motivator. And I think that I learned from him, that there's a saying that you catch a lot more flies with a spoonful of honey than you do with a spoonful of vinegar. So if you go around, being happy and motivated and friendly and positive and, appreciating what people have done, that'll go a long way to making everyone feel like they want to be part of what you're trying to achieve as a group or an organisation. And I think that I'd say that I've been lucky to work with some people I've really, learned a lot from.
So, what is the most challenging thing about being a CEO?
I think the challenging thing about being a CEO is that I was talking to the IB group about this earlier, and I was trying to kind of put it into a few simple things without going on for too long about it. But I think there are two aspects to the role that are interesting. So firstly is that you've got to take account of everyone in the organisation. So you've got all of the people, not just the students, obviously central and important in what happens, but all of the staff and the teaching staff, but also all of the other staff that work in the school, the people that prepare the lunches and organise the buses and do all the other things that you need to make a school work, because you actually need nearly as many people again as the teaching staff in order to make a school work well. So to make sure that you're thinking about everybody. So the students, the teachers, the other staff, the parents. So one thing is to try and think about all of the different, what they call them is stakeholders. So all of the different people in the organisation, to try and make sure that what you're doing works for everybody. So it doesn't just work for one group, that it works for all the groups. I think that's one thing. And then the other thing is that the chief executive is that you're really responsible for resource allocation, because if you think about resources in anything in the world, it's often finite. That there's only a certain amount that you've got. There's only a certain amount of anything, really, whatever that happens to be. And so as the chief executive, you're the person responsible for allocating that resource and working out what's really important. And given that you can't do everything all of the time and focus on that to the maximum, what are the things you're really going to focus on? What are the things that are going to be really important? And so I think they're the tricky bits of the job, because you've got to ask everybody about what they think. What do people think are the most important things? And then you've got to work together and collaborate on how you do allocate those resources. But you as the chief executive, that the old saying, that the responsibility ends with you. You're the person who ultimately is responsible for the decision on how those resources are allocated.
How does it feel to be in charge of such a diverse set of schools?
I think that's a really interesting point, is that the diversity of the schools is very, very important. So if we tried to do, like McDonald's or someone, and we tried to have it exactly the same everywhere, that really doesn't work with schools. That's, it's a disastrous strategy with schools. So with schools, what you have to do is you have to make sure that it's owned by the community that it serves. And the community it serves, again, the students, the parents and the teachers at that school. And it's really important that they feel that they own what's going on at the school. And so what you've got to try and do is you've got to make sense of the fact that you're 43 schools. So what value are you adding by being 43 schools instead of one school? So what can we do as Nord Anglia Education to make the British International School of Houston better? At the same time, how do we leave the control and the ownership of what's going on at the British International School of Houston in the hands of the people here in the school? And I think that's the big challenge of running a school group as diverse as this.
What has been your greatest challenge along the way of becoming a CEO?
Well, I don't think you ever really think that you've become the finished article in it. It's this thing, and I know it's a big philosophy in school here as well, about being a lifelong learner. That the students are actually referred to as learners, the learners. And for me, being a CEO isn't about saying, okay, I've got this title and everything, and therefore I'm going to sit in a big office and get a big desk and, with my name on the desk, Andrew Fitzmaurice, CEO, and sit there and think, right, that's it, I'm there. I think that the challenge on it is like any role, that you do, trying to make sure that you keep learning and keep challenging yourself to get better.
Okay.
I think that's the thing.
Okay. Do you have any advice for students who would like to be a CEO like you?
I say the advice I would give about any job is that make sure you do that for the reasons that suit you, that are the right reasons for you. So don't force yourself down a route that you're not going to like. Because, I think about this guy I used to work for, and who I said, the guy who, was really inspiring, the great motivator who really made everyone feel great. He said to me, he said, you know what, Andrew, he said, he said, he was the CEO. He said, I'm the CEO of this organisation. He said, but if I was the person responsible for keeping the road outside clean, he said, that would be the cleanest bit of road anywhere in England. That I'd make sure that was the cleanest bit of road. So he was just determined to do the best possible job he could, because that suited what he was, the personality that he was. But I think it's knowing what you want to do and giving yourself a role that you really feel that you're going to be happy in. So if you feel that whatever it is, whatever role you feel, whether you want to be the person who keeps the road the cleanest, or whether you want to be the person that runs the organisation or teaches or whatever you want to do in your life, make sure that that's something that you really want to do. Because if you're happy doing it and you're motivated doing it, then you'll be really good at it. But if it's something that you think, I'm really not sure this is me, I'm not sure I enjoy it, you probably won't be good at the job. So I'd say, rather than thinking, I want to be a CEO, kind of think about, what kind of role do I want? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? And then once you've chosen that, then go down that route. I think if you do want to go down the CEO route, if you want to be, in charge of an organisation, then I think it's about, making sure that you plan your career so that you get experience of lots of different things. Because it's this thing about all the different stakeholders and all the different people, and making sure that you bring everyone with you. That's really important.
Well, thank you, Mr. Fitzmaurice, for answering all of our questions, and I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it.